You booked it, episode 202. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining me today on You Booked It, the #1 podcast where you learn how to create a successful entertainment career. Have you joined the You Booked It community yet? It is your go-to entertainment career resource. Inside, you'll have direct access to Broadway performers, Emmy nominees, and people just like yourself navigating this industry. Learn from those walking the walk. Build industry relationships, access unlimited masterclasses, and learn how to book the job more consistently. Join free today. Tap the link in the show notes or go to youbookeditpodcast.com/invite to get inside. And now, let's meet today's guest. Okay, let's kick off this episode today. I am excited to introduce my guest, Carl Hitchborn. Are you ready for this, Carl?
I'm very ready, thank you, Dane.
Brilliant. Carl is the CEO and co-founder of Escape Ark, where he is on a mission to build the biggest and fairest music company in the world, and in the process, create a brand new music industry where artists don't just survive, they thrive. In less than 2 years, he took UK alternative rock band The Hunna from obscurity to selling over 10,000 tickets in London, selling 60,000 albums, and over 150 million streams. The best part, this was achieved without conforming to traditional music industry norms and was done in a way that is both replicable and scalable. Carl, that is a very quick intro of who you are and what you've done, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, fill in the gaps, and a little bit more about what you do as a professional in the entertainment industry?
Thank you, Dane. It's been an interesting journey. It's been almost 12 years that I ventured into the music industry.
Yeah.
Before then, I was a baker, and I decided that I was not going to get the fulfillment that I desired from being involved in the bakery business. It was a family business. And so I decided to enter the music industry. And what I discovered was not what I imagined it would be. It was very unethical and very unfair. So I decided that I was going to try to do things differently. And so I've had a very interesting journey over the last 12 years. And as you said, I had a project, The Hunna, that I took from nowhere to a position of really creating an incredible story. And that's led me to where I am now. I'm currently here in Los Angeles, and it's been a very interesting last 2 years of educating artists all over the world, leading to the foundations of the mission that you just read out already, of building the biggest and fairest music company in the world. And in the process, creating a brand new music industry where artists don't just survive, they thrive. And so that's a very big goal, but I'm very excited to be on that mission.
Oh, that's so cool. And what a journey as well, as coming from, being a baker and then into the music industry, of course. Very excited to get into this interview today. But let's get into this section here. And Carl, look, I am a sucker for a good quote. What is your favorite quote you'd like to share with everyone?
I'm going to give you a quote from Napoleon Hill. I read Think and Grow Rich just before I decided to get into the music industry. It was reading that book that triggered me. And so the quote I'm going to give you is, "Whatever the mind of a man can conceive and believe, it can achieve."
Oh, so good. And you kind of alluded to it, saying that's kind of what kicked off your entire journey into the music industry. But how else has that quote affected and impacted your music career?
Thinking big and really believing that whatever we decide that we want to try and do, the only reason that we will not get there is if we do not try to do it, if we do not put the energy in and take action that's required. And so for me, thinking big, and also as you go on your journey to wherever it is you want to get to, there will always be obstacles. There will always be things that will come your way that will not be part of the plan. But ultimately, if you allow those obstacles to get in your way, you will stop. But if you also look at them and say, there's always a way through, whether it's over the top or to the side or underneath, you'll find a way if you just keep on moving forward. And so thinking big and then taking action, no matter if things have gone to plan or they haven't.
Really like that. And What I really like about the whole idea of thinking big is that, I think sometimes people, especially in our industry, others outside of it, looking at what we're doing, will think that we're just these dreamers or are setting these kind of ridiculous goals, right, as they perceive them. And at the end of the day, of course, there comes a point where you actually have to take the action, you have to do the thing, take that first step down that path. But if you can't conceive the big end goal, there's absolutely no way you can get there. You have to see it before you can even begin to achieve it.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Well, let's get into this next section here. And Carl, of course, you are an entertainment professional. I am an entertainment professional, and I think that you'd agree that this industry can be one of the most subjective, brutally honest, and personally emotional industries in existence. And you know as well as I that to create and have a successful career in this industry like you're having now takes a lot of dedication and hard work. And while, yes, there is an outrageous amount of fun and excitement doing what we do, there are also our fair share of obstacles, challenges, and failures we are going to experience and move forward through, like we alluded to in that last question. But tell us, what is one key challenge, obstacle, or failure you've experienced in your career, and how did you come out the other side better because of it?
Okay, so let me give you a story.
Yeah.
At the end of 2018, I was there's a venue in London called Alexandra Palace. It's actually 11,500 capacity venue.
Wow.
And the Hunter were about to play that venue. And out of the blue, I had an email from a lawyer saying the band were not happy. They want to get out of their contract. The next thing, they cancelled all of the shows, including this show. And everything that I was planning ahead, which was big goals, we were planning to get to arenas. We had all sorts of things that were set. It just stopped, instantaneously stopped. And I was in a position where I'd reinvested all of the income and profits that had come in back into the project to help scale the project. And so I was not in a position where I'd yet made the money. I was about to make the money. I was about to make millions of dollars, and I ended up losing a lot of money. And so I had already got a visa to fly to Los Angeles to live with my wife and my 2 kids. And so regardless of the big obstacle that had just dropped in front of my way, I was not going to allow that to stop me. And so I flew to Los Angeles with my wife and my 2 kids and really had to figure out what I was going to do. And I didn't really have a plan at that moment in time. And I just had confidence that I would find a way. And so within a matter of weeks of arriving here, I had the idea that I was going to write a book of the story of how I came into the music industry as a baker and created the fastest growing alternative rock band in UK history. And I knew the story would be compelling. Every time I shared the story with people, they were like, wow, this is incredible. They want to know more. And so I wrote that book, and I haven't looked back since. I've sold over 30,000 copies of the book. It's called Zero to Record Breaker. And the big thing about it is that I also sold those copies directly to consumers. So I have a fan base or customer base of customers all over the world who I have a connection with. And so I've turned a situation of adversity into one that's positive. And I'm in a much bigger position than I was back then. I have a lot more projects that I'm working with. I have a lot more security in the knowledge that I have a customer base. I have a tribe of people that believe in me. And I could have curled up in a ball and cried about it. Instead, I decided that I was going to double down and I was going to go for it. And I decided to take my whole family to the other side of the world and just go and try and fulfill the American dream. And that's where I am.
Wow, that is a crazy story. I can only imagine to have all that work put in and then essentially just have the rug pulled out from under you instantly.
Yes.
But then to continue and carry on and create more from that, that's amazing. I love that story. It's so good. I'm going to have to pick up your book as well.
Yeah, and really what I would say is that the world that we live in, and has always been like this, is that stories is what really captivates people. And so when you have a story, you can leverage that story. And so I always knew that I had that story. You could take the band away, but you couldn't take away the story and the history of what had been done and the results and the stats that were there in the public domain. So I knew that I could leverage them at some way. I wasn't sure how, but writing the book was the best thing that I could do, and it's been incredible to do.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Did you know building industry relationships are the most important assets you need to create a long-lasting entertainment career? And don't take my word for it. Guest after guest here on the podcast have attributed some of their biggest career moments to their relationships. That is why you need to get yourself inside the You Booked It community. You'll learn what you need to do to get noticed, and make sure your headshot stays in the callback pile so you can book the gig more consistently and create a successful career. Tap the link in the show notes or go to youbookeditpodcast.com/invite to get inside free today. Oh, wow. And I want to piggyback on that really quick and talk about a time that I like to call your spotlight moment. That one moment in time you realized, yes, I am going to be in this entertainment industry for a living. Or maybe it was, yes, this is what I need to be doing in the entertainment industry.
Yes, going back to what I discussed earlier around Think and Grow Rich. So I read that book, and I was really in a position where the bakery business, it was a family-run business, and I had been growing the business, but there was a lot of conflict. And so when I say conflict, it was really around the fact that the business was doing well, and my family didn't want to grow. They didn't want to make a bigger impact than what we had. They used to say to me, why can't you just be happy with what you have? You have a nice house, you have a nice car, you have money coming in. And I used to say that because it's not about the money, it's about impact. It's about improving constantly and pioneering new ways and doing new things. And that's what excites me. And so I decided that after reading that book, it triggered me to decide to find a new pathway. It will be in September, it will be 12 years that I decided to embark on the journey in the music industry. And so I decided that this is what I was going to do. And the reason I decided to do this is because for me, music is one of the most powerful mediums of connection that exists in the world. And every human on earth needs music. It's like one of those things that we need water, we need food, we need music in our lives. And so I decided that if I could make a wave in the music industry, I could make a wave in the world. And so that was my journey at the very start, deciding to embark on the mission I am on now.
So good. I love what you said. If I could make a wave in the music industry, I could make a wave in the world. That's so good. I love that. And let's talk about your number one booked it moment attached to that. Walk us through that day, what was going on in your life, and what about that moment makes it your favorite booked it moment?
So when I decided to launch the Hunter, I'd been in a situation with another project called Coast that I'd signed to a major record label, and it was very frustrating because we hadn't got the momentum that we expected to get. We had much more momentum on our own, and when we did this deal, we were really stuck in the machine. It was very painful, very frustrating. So when I had this other project that I was developing at the time called the Hunter, I decided that I wasn't going to do it with the system. I was going to do it outside of the system. I decided that I was going to take this project from zero to playing to Brixton Academy in London within 2 years of releasing the first song. And so everyone told me that that was not possible. I was insane. And they basically laughed at me. And so 18 months from releasing the first song, booking that show and actually selling it very quickly to the point where we ended up putting another night on as well and selling 10,000 tickets.
Wow.
That was a big moment to know that what I said that we could do, we did times two. And so that was, as of right now, that's the biggest moment for me, is to say, to go for a big goal like that, make it become a reality, many other things along the way. But that was just a very significant moment because traditionally to get to this venue in alternative rock would normally take you 5 to 10 years. So we did that in 18 months from releasing the first song. And it was an incredible moment to experience that.
Wow, that's so good. I can only imagine that you are the kind of person that a lot of people listening to this that are musicians and doing that grind right now would love to speak with you. So good. And let's take a moment to talk about the present. What projects are you working on now? What are you looking forward to? And it's a weird time, right? We're in this global pandemic. How do you see the entertainment industry and the music industry moving forward in the next couple of years?
So as I said, I have been building a customer base in the last couple of years. I decided that what I would do is I would go deep into building relationships with as many people as possible that connected
Mm.
to me from buying my book. And so I embarked on this crazy idea of I'm going to get on Zoom calls with a lot of people. And so I started to do Zoom calls. I was doing 10 to 15 Zoom calls every single day. And
Wow.
I've done that for 2 years. And I was looking recently, and I've done over 6,000 one-to-one Zoom calls with artists and people who work with artists from all over the world.
Wow.
And so I've really got a deep understanding. I already had a good understanding of the pain that authors go through and the really uncertainty that they have in the journey ahead. As you said earlier, it's a very difficult lane to navigate in the entertainment industry. There's so many things you can do. There's so much noise. And so I embarked on this journey with the idea of creating an education system. So that's one of the things I've been working on is creating an education system that will teach artists how to build their own businesses and so they can create sustainability from their artistry. And then, so that's kind of like the second part of my mission to create a brand new music industry where artists don't just survive, they thrive. If you give them the knowledge and the tools, they can learn to do it themselves. And that means that they have the autonomy and they don't have to rely upon the system, and the gatekeepers that are in their way will no longer be in the way. So I've been educating artists how to do that themselves. And the first part of the mission of building the biggest and fairest music company in the world, that's really about finding those artists that really have ambition, that want to really have a big career. They want to make a big impact in the world, but they don't want to be in the system. And so the idea is for us to create that's the new system for them that is fair and equitable, and will give them the platform that they need to be able to focus on their art, knowing that the business side of it is being taken care of in a way that's fair for them and is going to get them to where they want to be. And so I founded Escape Ark to be the vehicle to do that. And I'm really excited because this is really the calm before the storm, if you like. We're getting a lot of foundational things in place. We've just concluded some deals on distribution and various other parts of the foundational things that you need to be able to build infrastructure to help artists do what they really want to do. And that's to make as much of a wave out there in the world themselves. And so I'm very excited because I would say within a matter of months, a lot of people are going to start to hear about Escape Ark and the work that we're doing. And so this is a really cool interview to be doing because this is one of the first that I've done. And so I'm really looking forward to looking back at this in the future and for people to listen back to see that this is the beginning of it.
Oh, that is amazing. I'm very excited for you, and I'm just gonna have to tap into everything that you're doing and just follow you and see how everything develops over the next handful of months and years and stuff. That's
Thank you.
very, very cool. And it is time to move on to one of my favorite sections in the interview. I call it the Grease Lightning Round. I am going to ask you a handful of questions. I want you to answer them as quickly and concisely as possible, one after another. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Brilliant. First question. What was the one thing holding you back from committing to a career as an entertainer?
Answering on the behalf of artists that I'm mentoring, I would say the one thing that holds them back is really not knowing where they should start. And so there's so much noise, so many voices, and it makes it hard for them to know where they should actually start on the journey. So the key is to have a big goal, one that inspires you enough to take the action necessary to get going and to avoid the noise and distractions that come your way on the journey.
Yes, the comparison game, I can imagine,
Oh, yeah.
plays a big role.
Oh, yes. The comparison game, looking at what everyone else is doing and not taking any action themselves. It's very much one of the things that happens. And then, of course, there's a lot of people out there that say they know the answers and they don't necessarily know the answers. And so people don't know where to turn. So you have to just get to it, take action.
Yes. Second question. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Think big and in turn take massive levels of action to make your goals become a reality.
Yes. Third question. What is something that is working for you right now? Or if you'd like to go pre-COVID, what was working for you before our industry went on pause?
We really are in a world that is very connected through social media. And whether that be before the pandemic or post-pandemic, building a relationship with your audience online is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And so if you cultivate an audience online, build a relationship with those people that want to support you, in the end, they will support you at every level. And so when we get out of the pandemic, if you're in the entertainment space where you're in venues, then if you have an audience that already knows, likes, and trusts you, they are going to want to come and see you in the venue as well. So building a relationship online, using social media, that's the thing that really is with us. It's not going anywhere. And so maximize it. That's what I would say you should do.
Yes, love that. And the fourth question, what is your best resource? Whether that is a book, a movie, a YouTube video, maybe a podcast or piece of technology you found is helping your career right now.
I truly believe that having a growth mindset is fundamental to success. And so there's a platform called Mindvalley, which is incredible. It's full of lots of awesome education, very much focused on helping you to cultivate a growth mindset. So Mindvalley is a tool that I frequent almost every single day. There's lots of great education. I would highly recommend it.
Very cool. I've not heard of that. I will be checking that out as soon as this interview is finished.
Awesome.
And the fifth question, if you had to start your career from scratch, but you still had all the knowledge and experience you've collected from your career in this industry, what would you do or not do? Would you do anything differently, or would you keep it the same?
No, honestly, I wouldn't change anything so far on the journey. Life is a journey. We have ups and we have downs, and we have to embrace it and focus our energy towards constantly improving every day. And so the journey to now has been incredible. I'm excited about being here. The fact that I'm on this earth is awesome, and I want to make the biggest impact possible. So I don't dwell on the past. I always look at it. We've had lots of lessons along the way, and it's up to us to constantly improve. That's what I'm here for. That's why we're on this earth.
Yes. And the last question, what is the golden nugget knowledge drop you've learned from your successful career in this industry you'd like to leave with our listeners?
So those who say that they know what to do and those who actually know what to do are few and far between. So follow your intuition as well as your logic to determine if the advice that you're getting will actually help you or not. If you're not sure, or if you think the answer is no, keep on taking action on the things that you already know is working for you, so that you're not wasting your energy on misguidance or guidance that's not really helping you get to where you want to be. So just trust your instincts, trust your logic, and keep on taking action. If you know that you've got something working, just keep doing that. Because if you get distracted, you're going to stop taking the action. And so keep on doing it. That's what I would say you need to do.
Oh, I think that is incredible advice. And I would recommend everyone rewind real quick and listen to that again, at least once. It's so important because we see in the social media world, this online world, that people get huge and have these seemingly overnight successes left, right, and center. But really, it's about staying consistent with that one thing that works for an extended period of time.
Absolutely. That's it. You have to keep focusing. And as you said, it's about the compound effect of that constant action on the things that are working. And it's very simple. It really is. And I've got many projects that I've been mentoring that I've got them to work on to simplify everything. And it's incredible the results that they've had from doing that. And so I can't stress it enough. Stay focused on the things that you know are working, and don't get distracted by the noise that comes your way. The more momentum you build, the more noise will come. And so you have to learn to say no a lot.
Yes, so good. And to wrap up this interview, Carl, it is time to give yourself a plug. Where can we find you? How do our listeners connect with you? Is there anything you want to promote?
Well, as I was a baker in my previous career, I started to get nicknamed the baker in the music industry. And so I've taken on that brand, guys, as my brand identity. And you can find all my social handles at The Baker Says, and my website is thebakersays.com. I have various information products and books that you can acquire from me. And as I said earlier, I'm on a very big mission. I'm about to really start to execute in a much more public-facing way. up until this point, the last 2 years, I've been very much underground, doing one-to-one Zoom calls with artists and people who work with artists. But as of right now, I'm kicking off to tell the world the amazing work that myself and my fellow co-founders in Escape Ark are doing. And so visit my website, add your email address to the newsletter, and you'll definitely get lots of news from me ahead. And connect with me on social media. Please send me a message. I always reply to you. I love connecting with people. That's how the world ticks.
Brilliant. And for everyone listening out there, I've put the links to everything Carl just said into the description of this episode so you can easily connect with him. And also be sure to share this podcast with your fellow entertainers, coaches, teachers, arts and entertainment educators, and anyone you know aspiring to create a career in the entertainment industry. You Booked It is the #1 resource of expertise on how to actually create a successful entertainment career. Case in point, everything Carl just gave us today. His journey is incredible. So much gold to take out of this episode. If you like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next guest. Carl, thank you so much for being here. This was an incredible interview. Loved getting to know you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dane. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity and the time. And I'm looking forward to sharing the podcast with my audience as well, because I think that some of your previous episodes will be very helpful for those guys as well.
Wonderful. My pleasure. Thank you so much for listening today. If you enjoyed this episode and want more like it, be sure to smash that subscribe button. Also, be sure to join the You Booked It community. Inside, you can connect with your people, build industry relationships, unlock unlimited masterclasses, and access the tools and training you need to create sustainable career momentum. Get your invite link right now. Tap the link in the show notes or head over to youbookeditpodcast.com/invite, and we'll see you there.